Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Google Partners Hangout on Air. My name is Basil, and today we're going to take this opportunity to do something a little bit different. So we've gone through a lot of what AdWords has to offer. We've branched out even to separate products, spoke about analytics, Merchant Center. This month we're talking about tools, and one of my favorite tools is actually AdWords Editor. So today we're going to be discussing exclusively on AdWords Editor, why you should use it, what are some of the advantages, and what makes it a little bit different than actually just updating your campaigns through the normal AdWords interface. So let's get started with our agenda. So there you have it. There's a brief overview of what we'll be discussing today. So we're going to go over what AdWords Editor is, when it should be used, and the features that are included within AdWords Editor. Okay, and let's just start off with a brief overview. So AdWords Editor looks something like this, and it should be used in a lot of different scenarios. Mostly, if you guys have a lot of different clients, if you've got maybe one client that targets a lot of different places, you know that it could take a long time to maybe target a campaign or tailor a campaign to a certain region or a certain scenario. What AdWords Editor allows you to do is actually do it through a separate program, through a separate free downloadable program, and it allows you to make changes across campaigns and across accounts. So a lot of times people will ask me, well, I've got something running in one account, can I go ahead and copy and paste that into a new account? And you can't actually do that within AdWords. AdWords Editor actually frees you up to do just that. So yeah, let's just take a look at why AdWords Editor should be used. And as I said before, okay. Yeah, so sorry about that. We're experiencing some technical difficulties right now. I don't think you've missed that much. We're still in the introduction, what AdWords Editor is, and the scenarios it should be used, and what you can gain out of it, especially when managing your clients' accounts. So as you see on the screen right now, AdWords Editor is a professional tool for AdWords account management. And if you're serious about AdWords, you definitely cannot manage without this tool. And let me give you an example of how it can drastically cut down the time it takes to update a campaign or to tailor a campaign for a client. So let's say one of your clients is advertising holidays to Mexico and is offering a 15% discount on those holidays. But all of a sudden something changes and they decide to change the discount from 15% to 20%. And they call you and they say, you know what, the copy has changed. We want the ad to show 20% instead of 15%. So what are you stuck doing? Let's say you've created a whole host of campaigns advertising this 15% discount, and you got to change it to 20%. Well, if you have AdWords Editor, you can do that within a couple of minutes. You can just bulk change all the ads from 15% to 20%. Without AdWords Editor, you're going to update each ad one by one manually, and that is a pain in the neck. So I'm sure everybody here has probably experienced the last minute change with a client, has tried to make what is a simple change, but because you have so many different campaigns running in tandem, it becomes a little bit more complicated. If you've ever lived through this, trust me, you want to download AdWords Editor and you want to use it to manage your campaigns. It makes things a lot easier. So let's take a look at some of the benefits that are available to AdWords Editor users. I think the first thing we should mention is that it's free, and you can use it on any platform you wish, Mac or PC. One of the things I like about it is that it functions offline and it's quite quick. Obviously, if you've ever had dead time while traveling, or if you just haven't had an internet connection, maybe on the commute home, you can actually just fire up your laptop and do the changes, and once you have an internet connection, upload the changes into AdWords. I think that's a really neat feature about AdWords Editor, because so many programs nowadays actually require an internet connection to function. AdWords Editor isn't one of them. You can make bulk changes, as I mentioned before. You can back up your account, upgrade to enhanced campaigns. Obviously, this is a little dated, so I think everyone has upgraded to enhanced campaigns for a while now, but you can upgrade to search and display select using this quite easily, and you can upgrade across multiple different accounts, and it can be used for collaboration. So if you've got a portfolio that is shared by multiple account managers, those account managers can work in tandem. They can update each other using notes. And it's just a lot easier to keep track of what is going on, especially if one account is handled by multiple different people. Okay, so here's what it looks like. If you have a look at that link at the bottom, that will actually take you to the website where you can download AdWords Editor. As I mentioned before, it is available for Windows and Mac. We've shifted some things around for this copy of, for the latest version of AdWords 11. So I would definitely recommend you go ahead and download that. Things are actually a lot quicker. Uploading to the AdWords interface is actually twice as quick right now. You can leave comments. There are enhanced shortcuts. Really, 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 really cool, and just makes it a lot easier to go around managing accounts this way. So if you haven't downloaded the latest version of AdWords, which is AdWords 11, I believe, go ahead and do that. If you have yet to download AdWords Editor to begin with, it's never too late to get started. So there's the link at the bottom of the screen if you have any desire to go ahead and download that now, while we give a brief overview of what the interface looks like. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the features, and this is what we'll be talking about in this section. So one of the things I like about AdWords Editor is you can always back up your account, which is great because you never know when something could go wrong, when somebody might delete the wrong thing or accidentally cancel the wrong account. You can back everything up. If you're a larger agency and you've got multiple people dealing with many different accounts across many clients and many portfolios, it's always good to have a backup in place. Things can go wrong, and the last thing you want is to start over from scratch because something happened that wasn't supposed to happen. So one of the great features is actually being able to back up an entire account, selected campaigns or selected ad groups. And in order to do that, you just navigate over to File, Export Backup, and then export selected campaigns or ad groups, or you can, as you see on the screen here, export a whole account or export just a current campaign or the current ad group. The interface might be a little different if you're using a Mac. I think the screenshots we have here are from Windows. It might be a little bit different, but it is still the same way if you want to go about backing up your account. Okay, hot tip. So I would definitely suggest making backups regularly, especially before big updates. Like I said before, the last thing you want is for all your work that might be, many years with a client, might even go back to before you even started with your agency. the last thing you want is for that idea to be lost. So it's always a good idea to make backups regularly. It's especially important before providing large-scale updates, because there's a possibility that certain changes are made and then it's hard to reverse. And in that case, you have that backup, which always could help towards a quick recovery. Just to give an example, if somebody is updating a campaign, and let's just continue with the theme of vacations, for that vacation to Mexico, and some keywords were removed, match types were changed, some ad groups might have been consolidated, changed bids. You might see that there was a dip in the campaign performance. In that case, you probably want to revert back. You tried something, it didn't work, everything is dropped, you want to go back. If that's the case, if you've got that backup, you can go back to a week ago or 2 weeks ago and revert to the original campaign instead of actually making all the changes to go back manually. It'll just take a couple of clicks to revert back to the original campaign. And this is one of the things you want to consider while making updates to your clients' accounts. And if you have AdWords Editor, it's there. Nobody has to spend long nights at the office making painstaking revisions to get everything back to how it was. You just got the backup there, and you can throw it up on the AdWords interface pretty easily. Okay, let's talk about Keyword Grouper. So this feature automatically helps you with turning a list of keywords into a structured set of theme-focused groups. So in order to do this, you'd navigate over here, go to Tools, Keyword Grouper, and then you get something that looks like this. And essentially, you can organize a whole litany of keywords in a very, 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 very short amount of time to a current ad group. And then you can take that list of keywords and then take it across accounts or across campaigns quite easily. It's there. Obviously, if you're splitting, you're targeting across many different campaigns, you don't want to go and copy the list or insert it manually. You can just take it and then copy and paste it even across accounts, which is not available in AdWords. So let's give you a tip or an example of how this could really help you on saving time. So obviously, as I mentioned, it saves time when you're organizing ad groups and keywords. Let's say you have one ad group with 801 keywords, excuse me. So the example we have here, I think you can see on the screen, it says Alaska Cruises General. You'll see keyword selected 801 of 801. In less than 5 minutes, you can have something that looks like this: 48 really, really narrowed themed ad groups. So if you've got a new client's account and he's got massive ad groups and there's hundreds of words per group, the keyword grouper is going to allow you to split things up under same themes. So it'll go ahead and automatically group anything that it deems to be similar into one ad group. So these 801 keywords at one time were all disorganized, all jumbled. Grouper put them into groups that actually make sense contextually. You can also use it to find duplicate keywords, and this is really, really useful, available through the Tools section. You go to Find Duplicate Keywords, and you get something like this. Obviously, it's very, very helpful, because duplicate keywords can sometimes not be the best thing within a campaign or an ad group. You might end up competing against yourself. You might have split performance on the same keyword. Depending on what your strategy is, it might be keeping costs down instead of just pure acquisition or pure competition for the sake of placement. It'll allow you to filter out any duplicate keywords so that you're not actually competing against yourself. So let's give an example of this. So as I said, competing with yourself for the same bid auction could potentially increase your CPC and your overall cost. You run this tool on a regular basis and you can find duplicate keywords and just filter them out. Okay, another thing you can do, import and export. So AdWords Editor provides great possibilities for collaboration. I think it's one of really the great value propositions of this product. So AdWords Editor can export data files in its own format. It's a .aes format, and you can share data with other users. So you can share it with colleagues to collaborate with them, or you can share with clients to review. So you can go from your AdWords editor to another AdWords editor. So also with AdWords Editor, you can receive the edits from clients. You can receive any edits from maybe a colleague that works with you in the same agency. You can get input from clients, and they can review, accept, reject, propose changes. So instead of taking screenshots, copy pasting things, getting on the phone and asking the client to go into that individual specific account, you can just interface the communication within AdWords, ask them for their approval, for their okay on copy or for an entire campaign, and then just progress. And you have all the abilities and all the capability to do that within the AdWords interface. It makes it easy to export new campaigns and send it to the client for review. And then the import, then you can import the client's feedback and consolidate everything, and it just makes things so much easier, and it saves so much time. So again, I think if you haven't gotten the theme here, the theme is download AdWords Editor. It's really going to help you in going about your day-to-day work. So just a quick example over here as to what you can do. Let's take a look at the previous slide. You can also export and import data in .csv format. This is great if you're using Excel or if you're using Google Spreadsheets. You can share the data with colleagues and clients, and then you can export data for tracking needs. You can also receive data from clients and colleagues, and then obviously you can build your campaigns in a spreadsheet application and then import it. A lot of people choose to do this. This is especially useful if you're dealing with hundreds, if not thousands, of different keywords across multiple different campaigns. And for example, if your new client is not too familiar with AdWords Editor, but you have to send new ads for review and approval, it's easy to export these ads into a spreadsheet and then send them to the client. Then you don't have to worry about importing the client's feedback and importing the updated sheet into AdWords. You can just do it straight up into Editor. So yeah, even if your client may not have AdWords Editor, obviously some clients are more advanced or less advanced than others, you can just export it into a spreadsheet application, get the approval, get the spreadsheet back, and then upload it into AdWords Editor. So another thing that is really neat about AdWords Editor is that the historical quality score data is actually available. So it's not available in the AdWords interface. You just sort of see what your quality score is in the here and now. But within AdWords Editor, you can get an idea of how you're doing with quality scores. So you can see when you may have dipped, when you may have gone up, and you can get an idea of maybe even what competition is looking like thanks to quality score over here. And it's a great way to monitor your performance and keep track of what you're doing right or maybe what you're doing wrong for certain keywords. And I think the example we have here on the screen is showing 3 different match types for cruise, and you can see that certain match types work better for this client than others. So it seems that the exact match over here is what is working the best. Got a quality score of 7 by the end of the year, and that works better than your broad match or your phrase match for the same word. Okay, another thing you can do is you can export data for analysis and export campaigns to third-party ad tools. So for example, you can go from your AdWords editor to another, to a completely different platform. The great thing about AdWords Editor is that it is integrated or has the ability to integrate with other systems. The best example I can think of for this particular situation is if you want to maybe use one of the competition and run, let's say, search ads on Bing, for example, you can go ahead and take your data from AdWords Editor, take your keyword lists, take your campaigns, take all that format, and then upload that into that third-party tool. It will also give you the option to do that. So I think that's just a great value proposition for this product, that you can not only take care of your AdWords accounts, but you could potentially take care of some third-party advertising tools that use CPC bidding and keywords and the like. So here's just an overview of the example I gave you. So yeah, you can easily go and take your data within AdWords Editor. Let's say take a keyword list or ad group, and then put that into Bing Ads, for example. Okay, comments. This is really great for collaborative work, and we've actually overhauled it. It's even better now within the new AdWords editor interface, AdWords 11. So it looked a little bit like this. It still looks a little bit like this for the most part. And then you can just go ahead and put in comments at the bottom. This is especially good if you have a lot of shifting within portfolios. So maybe one account goes from one portfolio to another between quarters or between years, or maybe a person leaves the company. You can have a nice overview of what is going on, what the changes have been made, and what the strategy is for a certain account or for a certain campaign. Okay, and here's just an overview of what you can use it for. So comments are great to keep a logbook of your major updates and changes. And this can be used for you, for the future you, for colleagues that might take over after you've left, and for your clients, of course. For example, it would make sense to write down the date of when you switch from, let's say, CPC bidding to CPA bidding or CPM bidding, if relevant. And in the future, this information is going to allow you to compare the campaign performance before and after a major update. You'll have an idea of when the switch was made, and then you can compare. Let's continue with this scenario that CPC, and then you switched over to CPA. You can see whether or not that switch actually led to more success from an acquisition and from a cost standpoint. So you can also make similar annotations in Google Analytics as well. And the comments section is a good place to track your major changes for future reference. So if we continue with that example of switching from CPC to CPA bidding, you can put an annotation here, and it'll show up within your analytics campaign as well. There's just an overview at the bottom of the screen there. Okay, so search. The search feature actually helps you to find specific campaigns, ad groups, keywords, or ads to focus on for review or editing. This is really, really great because if you're running multiple campaigns for different clients, it can sometimes be a pain in the neck to find the account, and then within the account, find the campaign and find where the keywords are, or find where the specific ad group is, or find where the specific copy is. Within the AdWords Editor interface, you can actually just pop in a search term just like you would when you're using Google, and it'll pull a narrowed list of campaigns or groups or keywords of the search term you put in there. So really, really helpful in finding what you may be looking for. And there's just further detail on what it looks like. So yeah, as I mentioned, this allows you to save time finding keywords or ads to pause or resume. So let's take an example here. Let's say there's a campaign to promote cruises with, let's say, an early booking deal offer which has a deadline. Upon reaching this deadline, you can find all the ads with early booking deal and pause them. So let's say the offer is over and you don't want this campaign to run anymore. You can just easily put in a search term that's close to the copy or close to the name of the ad group of the campaign, find them all, and then switch over from approved to paused. Another thing you can do, and something we mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, is that you can append text. You can make changes to your text, and you can make keyword changes in bulk. So this will save you a lot of time. You can add text as well. So if you want to, let's say, add a couple of keywords, or if you want to make a headline a little bit more descriptive or change it, you can do that quite easily. And you can also keep keywords and add new ones within the appended text. So it'll look something like this. You click on Append Text, and then you can add keywords, for example. Just another hot tip. This is an easy way to expand ad groups and keywords. You know, let's say we've got that Mexico vacations campaign running. You can add keywords and say, you know what, I want to advertise that this is a cheap vacation to Mexico. So you put in the word cheap. You duplicate it if you want to duplicate it, and then all of a sudden you've got your same keywords, but then you've got duplicate keywords that include cheap. So you had Mexico vacation packages, all-inclusive Mexico vacation. Now that you've got the same keyword, just with the word cheap in front of them, it helps you expand your reach enormously, and it only takes a couple of seconds. Another thing you can do is add advanced bid changes. So a lot of you are probably looking at getting the most bang for your buck, so to speak, when it comes to bidding on certain keywords or bidding for a certain location or a certain time of day. And it can be a little difficult when you get a large amount of keywords in an account in AdWords, when you've got multiple different campaigns, multiple different locations, to actually track all that and then make the necessary changes you need to make in order to kind of exploit the data that is telling you that, yeah, if you put a bid increase here, you may get more clicks, you may get more impressions, you might be more competitive. Within the AdWords Editor interface, you can increase bids by a certain percentage or by a dirham amount or a dollar amount. You can also decrease it. You can lower the bids. You can raise the bids. You can raise max CPC to first page bid estimates, raise max CPC to top of page bid estimates. So anything you would be able to do within the regular AdWords interface, you can do here, except that it's a little bit different in that you're going to have an option to do it by percent and also by a monetary amount. So let's give you a scenario where this might be especially relevant for you. Obviously, the value proposition here is it's an easy way to adjust your bids temporarily. And this is great because we've talked about seasonality before, inventory is going to come into it, cost controls, marketing promotions, so many things can actually change your strategy when it comes to advertising for a certain product or service. So at any time you can increase or decrease, as the example is showing on the screen right here, bids by a certain percentage or a certain dollar amount. And this feature provides an easy way to do just that. So let's use an example here and say for New Year's, your conversion rate is going down. It'll make sense that since conversion rates aren't all that much, to actually decrease the bid because you're not getting the same type of return on your investment. So you can use advanced bid changes to temporarily decrease the bids in bulk by 30% across campaigns, across accounts, across all levels. Advanced URL changes, another great value proposition, another great reason why you should be using AdWords Editor. This bulk URL editing feature allows you to set each specific URL and append text for it, and also remove specific URL parameters. So if you see on the screen right here, you just go over to the third option there, Advanced URL Changes, and then you'd be prompted to select one of the following, and then you can change the URL. So it could be that your client changed the website he was advertising, or it might have changed from a .ae to a .com. Instead of having to go and update every single ad by hand because his domain changed it from .ae to .com, you can do it within AdWords Editor pretty easily. As I mentioned, it's an easy way to manually tag your URLs as well. So here's an example that shows URL tagging for web trends. And just a note that you wouldn't want to do this with Google Analytics UTM parameters, since auto-tagging in AdWords in the AdWords interface automatically does this when Google Analytics and AdWords are properly linked. But for other analytics and tracking solutions, if you are using it, this could be a great option for you guys. Copy paste. Probably the main reason most of us use AdWords Editor is the copy paste feature. Now, copy paste has changed a little bit in the AdWords interface in that you can copy paste a lot of things across the same campaign within the same account. But if you're doing it against multiple accounts, it becomes impossible because you can't do that. But within AdWords Editor, you can do that. So you can take a campaign, an ad group, a keyword, an ad from one area to another area. And I think this is really great. So let's use that example one more time of the vacations to Mexico. So let's say you have that campaign targeting visitors from Spain and Mexico, and you decided to split the campaign to target these two countries individually. You can copy and paste the existing campaign, and then you have two identical campaigns, and then you can change the geographical targeting in both and say, okay, I want people from Spain to be allocated this campaign and people from Mexico to the other campaign. And you've done that literally within seconds. You've just made a copy of the current campaign, changed the geographical targeting parameters, and saved yourself a whole lot of time. And in the same way, you can also find and replace and append. So if you have a keyword that was targeting Mexico exclusively and doesn't make sense to target your new potential users within the campaign, you can use find and replace and create a new campaign or a new ad group or a new keyword or a new ad. So you can go and find Mexico and replace Mexico with Spain or Egypt or whatever it may be to make sure that you're advertising or targeting the right person within the new campaign. And again, it can be done very, very easily. You just go ahead and put in your term and then basically just designate what you want to replace it with, and that works across all levels. So here's more of an in-depth example. So you can make keyword changes and changes to your ad in bulk by just clicking on the replace text option. Find text, for example, here we have Barcelona and changing it to Madrid. And that will allow you to change anything that says Barcelona with the word Madrid. So find and replace, this is a feature that provides an easy way to expand the campaign or the ad group or the ads or the keyword. If you were doing something to promote a vacation to Barcelona and you want it to be a vacation to Madrid, you can do that quite easily by following these steps that are on the screen right now. Just a tip for people to do that, don't forget to tick duplicate matching items and replace text and duplicates, and then you'll have a new set of ad groups to promote Madrid vacation tours alongside Barcelona vacation tours. And this has been done within minutes as opposed to actually doing all the ads and all the campaigns and all the keywords manually to essentially advertise the same service that is a little different, right? It's more or less the same service, maybe even the same offer, just expanded a little bit to include a different city. Within the AdWords interface, this is something that would take a couple of minutes. Without the AdWords Editor interface, if you're going into AdWords, it's going to take you a lot longer. So yeah, think about how much time it would take you to do this if you didn't have AdWords Editor. Again, it just streamlines your work and makes everything that much easier. Yeah, the other thing you can do is play around with your bid adjustments for mobile and location. So with AdWords Editor, you can adjust the bids quite easily. And you can do this in bulk across the campaign or individually, even for individual keywords. And here you have just an example of what that looks like within the interface. And you can change it at any time, and changes would be instantaneous. So you can up the bid for UAE, for example, or you can up the bid for mobile if the data is telling you that you would stand to gain from that. So that's about all we have for today. I want to thank you for attending. Again, apologies for the technical issues we experienced earlier on in the presentation. If you missed anything, if you have any questions, you can always reach us at #AskArabia on our Google plus community, which is Google Partners Arabia. So go ahead and leave any questions you might have about using the AdWords Editor interface, or about using really any other tool that can help optimize your AdWords usage. Once again, the hashtag is #AskArabia. I want to thank you for attending. For those of you who'd like to see the same presentation in Arabic and in French, we've got those Hangouts coming up just after this one. Thanks for watching. If you've got any questions, once again, it's #AskArabia, and we'll see you in the next one.